Out in the Arizona desert, there's a small school with a really big heart and an even longer history. But this place, this pillar of the community, is facing a perfect storm of financial trouble, state intervention, and, a real breakdown in public trust. So how on earth did a school known for being excellent find itself in this position? Let's get into it.
So this is what the district superintendent of 30 years said as he was leaving. And it really captures how Topock Elementary sees itself, as this precious gem. It's a beautiful statement, right? But it also sets the stage for the deep, deep challenges that have put that very idea to the test.
For more than 100 years, Topock Elementary has been the heart of this community. The retiring superintendent himself would talk about how the school has produced generations of successful people. We're talking first-generation college grads going to places like Stanford and Yale, decorated military members, even a USA Today best-selling author. I mean, for a small desert town, that's a pretty incredible launchpad.
But behind that really shiny history, a very different story has been playing out. For years now, a whole series of administrative and financial problems have been piling up, casting this long shadow over everything.
This timeline really shows you how things went from bad to worse. It kicks off back in 2018, when a former business manager and her daughter got caught up in embezzling hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oof. As you can imagine, that put the district under a massive microscope. Fast forward to 2023, and the state's audit committee had seen so many red flags, they actually called the superintendent to testify. Then, just a year later, the State Board of Education withholds their funding. And by 2025, you've got the community's frustration just boiling over into a public petition. It's a steady escalation.
So what's at the core of all this? Well, a lot of it comes down to these 4 letters, USFR, the Uniform System of Financial Records. Basically, it's the official rulebook for how every single school district in Arizona has to handle its money. And this isn't just, boring paperwork. It's the absolute foundation of public trust and financial honesty. When a district isn't following these rules, it's a huge red flag for the state.
And this, right here, is where you see the huge disconnect. In public, the superintendent kept playing it down, saying things like, it's all procedural stuff, basically framing it as minor paperwork issues. But then you have the Arizona Auditor General saying something completely different, describing a, quote, history of non-compliance and a failure to fix problems even after they promised state lawmakers they would. 2 totally different stories.
This quote, wow, this one really lit a fire. It was said during a board meeting debate about something as simple as providing agendas for people who showed up. And it just perfectly captured this growing feeling in the community that they were being pushed away, that the people in charge didn't really want them involved.
So all this tension and these compliance issues, they weren't just talk. They led to some very real, very tangible consequences for the district.
The state's big move came down to one number, 3%. That's the slice of state funding the Board of Education voted to hold back. Now, the superintendent said they had grant money to cover it, but make no mistake, this was a public penalty. It was the state saying, our patience has run out.
And this is the voice of a former Topock student, someone who went on to Columbia University. In 2025, she started that petition we mentioned, and it wasn't just about taxes. It was about what she called a total lack of transparency. Her words really cut to the chase. The ultimate cost of all these problems was a complete breakdown of trust with the community the school is supposed to serve.
But look, this story is not just about audits and arguments. Not at all. To really get what Topock Elementary is all about, you have to push past the administrative drama and see what's actually happening inside the classrooms.
Because despite all the chaos at the top, the school has some incredible strengths. They've got this amazing, detailed wellness policy. They create these fantastic hands-on learning trips for the kids, taking them out to marshes and museums. And the staff, many of whom went to Topock themselves, are just so deeply committed to these students.
And check this out for an innovative PE class. Buried in the school's wellness policy is a little note that a staff member teaches CrossFit to all the students twice a week. How cool is that? It's just one of those surprising little details that shows a real creative spark and a commitment to keeping kids healthy and active.
And you just can't deny the passion here. Before he left, the superintendent was just raving about the school's trip to Catalina Island. He thought it was one of the best experiences they could possibly give the kids. He was even planning to use his own tax credit donation to make sure a student from a low-income family could afford to go. That's a powerful reminder that, at its heart, this is about creating amazing memories for kids.
Okay,
So you have this really complex situation. Serious challenges, but also these amazing bright spots. So where does Topock Elementary go from here? Well, a very recent, very big change might just be the answer.
At the end of 2024, after 3 decades, the superintendent retired, and in early 2025, a new leader stepped in. Someone who used to be a teacher right there at the school. Someone who had already said she wanted to be an advocate for the students and staff. This was a huge moment, a chance for a total reset.
And one of the very first things that happened under new leadership pointed to a big shift in attitude. For years, board meetings were held at like 9:30 in the morning, impossible for most working parents to attend. The new superintendent, she immediately suggested moving them to the late afternoon or evening. It seems like a small thing, but it's a huge step toward actually inviting the community back in.
You know, the story of Topock Elementary has some really powerful lessons for any small town. It shows that all those financial rules, they aren't just red tape. They are the bedrock of public trust. It proves that even when you're a small school, a passionate staff can create massive experiences for kids. And maybe most importantly, it shows that when you're facing big challenges, being open and bringing the community along is really the only way forward.
So in the end, Topock's future really hangs on this question. They've got new leadership with deep roots in the community. They have a chance to start fresh. But it's going to take everyone, the school and the community, coming together, embracing transparency, and working to make sure that this diamond in the desert keeps on shining for a long, long time.